Hey there, scholarly gamers, and welcome to another episode of Jungle Drums. Now, this week's episode was originally going to be just about 2018. Me and the guys were going to, talk about the games that we're most looking forward to that are going to be coming out this year, as well as I was going to be hopefully talking about some of the tech hopes of this year, of any good hardware that's going to be getting released. Unfortunately, I'm not joined by the guys this week, just due to conflicting schedules, and also there's been some breaking news. So before I get into games of 2018, I think we need to talk about this whole CPU issue that's came up. If you're not familiar with it, well, basically, as cited here from TheVerge.com, Intel's processors have a security bug, and the fix could slow down PCs. Right. So the headlines got everyone's attention, saying that, look, there's this horrible security flaw in modern processors. Basically, any Intel processor that's been manufactured over the past 10 years, some articles are saying 20, but 10 to 15 seems like the average, would be affected. So okay, wow, that's a pretty big deal. But then subsequent articles started saying, oh, this exploit's been found, and the fix is going to slow down performance of your computer by as much, up to 30%. Now, that's a little bit of sensationalism. I believe it was Hardware Unboxed, a really good tech YouTube channel. They did some before and after benchmarks on a modern CPU, and the differences were negligible, like within the margin of error. If anything, post-fix, he experienced some performance increases depending on the application. To break it down as simply as I can, the bug, I mean, there's two of them out there, right? There's one called Spectre, and the other bug is called Meltdown. And the way that the bug works, it's related to the way that apps and programs can access what's called kernel memory areas. Basically, if you're familiar with the way an operating system works, and this isn't just Windows, we're talking about Linux, we're talking about Mac OS, kernels and operating systems basically have complete control over the entire system, right? They connect applications to the hardware, right? So the actual processor, the memory, and any other bits and bobs, kernels is what allows all of these things to interact. And so this flaw affects Intel processors. So it lets attackers bypass kernel protection, because of course all these operating systems, the kernels are protected, so people can't just randomly do whatever the hell they want. But these bugs actually allow attackers to bypass those protections, so that regular apps can read the contents of kernel memory, which kernel memory is usually protected, right? You can't access that. So it's been quite interesting. As it turns out, this whole bug has been kept, really tightly under wraps for the last, I believe, 2 or 3 months. They were aware of it. They've been working on it. One of the big things is, no one's actually used this exploit to do anything seedy or nefarious. It was just a case of developers, figuring out like, oh, hold on, wait a minute, this is crazy. We've got this huge exploit, this huge issue. How have we not seen this before? But so it's really been quite interesting, even in the last 48 hours, how this story has developed. Because of course, initially, the big thing was this performance decrease once you've applied the fix. For example, I've got the fix deployed on my home PC. I'm using Windows 10. My processor is actually quite a few years old. It's an Intel i7-4790K, and everything's running just fine. Intel does say that this bug and the fix, the performance issues are workload dependent. So this is where it's got a little bit interesting. Typical home users like you and me, we're probably not going to feel much of a difference post-fix. Which, if you're on Windows 10, the update should have been applied automatically by now. If it hasn't, please check for updates, you know, using your control panel. If you're on an older operating system, I don't believe the fix has automatically been pushed out yet. That's not going to happen till Tuesday, but I'm fairly sure you can go ahead and manually download the update, you know, via the Microsoft website, I think. But anyway, home users aren't really going to be affected that much by the fix, allegedly. It's going to mostly be affecting servers and, you know, what we call cloud computing these days. Amazon is huge for, you know, their cloud computing solutions that they offer, which is all done through virtual machines, right? I mean, basically, you know, the way you can set up these virtual machines is if you have a big, you know, like a server grade type machine, right? Something that has 56 cores on it. Within that system, you can set up several virtual machines, right? So instead of it just being one physical computer, there could be, God knows how many, 100 or 200 different computers set up within that server environment. And this is where this performance hit is supposedly really coming into play. Because of the way that this patch works, and it's putting these extra protections at the kernel level, virtual machines and the way they interact and, you know, do things, allegedly that is really kind of slowing up that workload. So servers might see a big difference. And this is what most of the articles I'm seeing is saying, that look, you know, the CPU catastrophe is going to hit hardest in the cloud, but we'll just have to see. One thing that is quite interesting was just yesterday, Apple confirmed that all Mac and iOS devices are affected by both the Meltdown and the Spectre bugs. This is where it's becoming a bit more interesting, because initially everyone was saying, oh, it's just Intel chips. It's just Intel chips. If you're on Team Red, if you've got an AMD processor, you're absolutely fine. As the news has kind of developed, we're learning that actually some of the ARM processors, which a lot of mobile devices use, they're also affected. AMD is also affected, but there's some conflicting news here, well, or conflicting information, I should say, rather, because of course initially AMD was like, oh no, it doesn't affect us, it doesn't affect us, but from everything that I can see so far, the latest bits and bobs, it looks like it's not just specific to Intel processors, but actually operating systems. And so Linux is even affected, right? Linux, who's you know, long been claimed vastly superior to Windows because, oh, you know, it's so much safer, we're well protected, and it's great for power users. Well, even Linux has been affected. If anything, it's been the Linux hardcore programmers, you know, the developers for the open source operating system, that have been really trying to paving the way to how to protect against the Meltdown and Spectre CPU flaws. But yes, Apple has just confirmed that oh, excuse me, as I try knocking my microphone out the road, that their devices are also impacted. So your Safari web browser, they're going to be patching that, and also the operating system itself should be getting an update in the near future. Because that's the thing, Meltdown is Intel specific, whereas Spectre, this other exploit, is the one that is to do more with the operating system. So that's the kind of the clarification there. The big one that got everyone freaked out about is Meltdown, and that's Intel specific, whereas this other exploit, Spectre, is not, and it affects Intel, AMD, and mobile processors. But hey, again, as a home user, don't worry too much, right? There's been no known cases of anyone using this exploit. They've just found out about it. They've also been very careful not to actually give details of how it works, so any aspiring hackers out there can't just, you know, attempt to use it. But look, just keep your operating system up to date and you should be absolutely fine as a home user. If you're not a home user and you've got servers or you're doing a lot of virtualization, then okay, you know, guess what? You might it might affect you quite a bit. And of course, if you're out there, like I know one of my good friends is in the cloud computing business, he's going to have a lot of work to do in the near future. But yeah, it was mainly just I wanted to cover it because it is big news, and also look, it's not as crazy. It's not the CPU apocalypse by any means, but it does have ramifications because this has been possible, especially with the one bug that specifically affects the Intel CPUs, it's no doubt going to affect, you know, development of future processors. I would imagine at this point in time, Intel is having to kind of rethink the way their architecture works, and who knows, will it be ready in time for the next generation of Intel chips? I don't know. Maybe because the performance difference is so negligible for the home user, they won't change their desktop lineup, but their commercial ones, their Xeons, maybe they will. We'll just have to see. Anyway, tech stuff out the way. Let's talk about the games that we're looking forward to, or well, I say we, it's the royal we. I'm on my own today, so the games that I am kind of not necessarily looking forward to, but actually let's talk about some of the games that are coming out. What we start off here in January, on the 24th, is a game for the PS4 coming out called The Impatient. The Impatient is, I believe, in the same universe as Until Dawn. I don't know if it's a sequel or if it's just, you know, to do with it, affiliated with it. I haven't read that much up on it, if I'm honest. I don't own a PlayStation, so I don't follow development of PS games that much. You know, don't get me wrong, of course, if a game looks really cool, I'm interested, and then usually I just lament the fact that I won't be able to play it. Because I do have nephews that have PS4s, and they could lend me it, you know, sometime, but they just don't. But anyway, it looks interesting. It looks to be a tale of terror and amnesia in a creepy medical facility, and it's going to be headed to VR as well. So that looks pretty cool. The game that we, and I use this we correctly because I know if Gim and Jay were here, they would also be saying how, not excited, but they're really looking forward to this game. And of course, this is Monster Hunter World, which is releasing on the 26th of January on PS4 and Xbox One. PC version, I believe, is going to be much later in the year. And Monster Hunter World does look fantastic. You know, the game has been hugely successful on portable hardware over in Japan. It's, I would like to say in the West it's relatively successful, but I think it is a bit of a niche. You know, there's a lot of people that maybe had never heard of it, and then there's those of us that, yes, we tried to seek out. I know many people tried to buy import copies of the older games and whatnot. But it's been around since the PS2, and it's just, the series is awesome. You know, this whole concept of hunting for monsters, or well, dinosaurs, you know, all these other types of things, and co-op is just great. And Monster Hunter World looks like it's going to be a massive open world version. It does look fantastic. Of course, if you're on the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, I do believe it's enhanced for those beefier consoles. So it does. It looks really, really good. I'm on the verge. I want to pre-order it. There's a package. It's only like a few quid more. Gives you some things, and of course, if you pre-order it, you'll get some kind of special stuff as well. I know we're going to be playing this, right? I know we're probably all going to buy this. I say, you know, like our crew of players. There's 4 of us. Yeah, I think we're going to get this. And so, hey, we'll see what it's like, and we'll let you know later on. On the same day that Monster Hunter World comes out, 26 Jan, also is a great fighting game coming out, and that's Dragon Ball FighterZ. That's on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Remember at E3 last year when we saw footage of Dragon Ball FighterZ? Looks absolutely amazing. Whether you're a hardcore fighting game fan or a Dragon Ball fan, You know, it just looks awesome. I mean, let's be honest. Most anime spin-offs, games or spin-offs of anime are mediocre at best. But this one looks pretty badass. The visuals look amazing. So definitely, you know, if you're into the whole fighting game scene, you'll be wanting to pick that up. And if you're not, well, it might be worth a look at. This could be the one game that actually draws you into that genre. Definitely looks interesting. Moving forward into February, on the 6th of February, we've got another PS4 game that is coming out. Well, basically a remake, or a reboot rather, a refresh maybe is the better word. Shadow of the Colossus is being re-released. You know, because at the time, let's be honest, the console it was released for didn't really have the power to really show off those Colossus bosses in a really good fashion. So, you know, hopefully this remastered version of Shadow of the Colossus, hopefully the PS4 and the PS4 Pro will do it justice. You know, looks pretty darn good. Another game coming out in February on the 13th for PS4, Xbox One, and PC is Kingdom Come Deliverance. And so this is a historical RPG. Looks quite interesting. A medieval realism. It's being developed by Warhorse. Okay, sounds relatively unique. There's not much information on it, to be totally honest. But could be interesting. Now, another game that we, and of course when I say we, I mean me and the crew, are really looking forward to. Another game that we are most certainly purchasing. Sorry, PS4 guys, it's only on Xbox One and PC, and that's Sea of Thieves. Now, Sea of Thieves has been in development for ages, right? And they've had, you know, their closed technicals, which actually there's an NDA. Yes, I have participated. Yes, I have played Sea of Thieves. Yes, I'm not allowed to talk about it. If you've seen any footage, which, you know, Sea of Thieves has done official streams in the past on Mixer, you'll see that the gameplay is just awesome. I wasn't that sold on the art initially. I'm really not into that whole cartoony type of thing. I mean, that's why I think I've never really enjoyed Overwatch. But despite that, it grows on you. What I can say is the publicly known stuff, where basically it's a co-op game. Yeah, they're going to be putting in, I think, the ability to do things completely on your own. But basically, right, you've got a ship. You boot up the game and you'll be queued up and match made with 3 other people, right? So it takes 4 people to run the ship. And, you know, you've got, as you would expect, someone at the helm who's got to, you know, steer the rudder. You've got your other guys or gals need to take care of things like getting the sails set correctly, you know, getting the angle right. Maybe you get a leak developing, so someone has to go down below, get their bucket, get the water, take it out. Then likewise, if there's a hole, fix it and patch it. Pretty cool game, you know. I mean, you kind of start off and, you know, someone might have a telescope, someone might have a map. You know, you just never know what's going to happen. I look forward to playing it, because if all 4 of us get it, we'll be able to actually just play with each other and explore the high seas. But it's great, you know. That's all the publicly kind of known stuff. I'd love to expand on my experience with the game, but can't. NDA. Just it's going to be good. I think it's going to be really, really cool. Whether I'm going to be playing on the Xbox or the PC, I don't know. It is enhanced for the One X, so we'll just have to see. It's a Play Anywhere title, so I should be able to jump back and forth. But we'll see how that goes. Right, 23rd of March, a game is coming out on all 3 platforms, PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and this is called A Way Out. And this is a game from Brothers director Joseph Fares. It's a story-driven game designed for 2 players, and a game that is actually designed around a split-screen view. It opens up a lot of interesting visual opportunities. It's a prison breakout tale. which is certainly an underused scenario in this day and age, with games. But that's about all I know about it. I'm sure they'd unveiled it at E3 last year, if memory serves. But that's just around the corner on the 23rd of March. Another game coming out in March, of course, is the controversial Far Cry 5, also on all three platforms, Sony, Microsoft, and PC. If you haven't heard about Far Cry 5, then you probably have not been paying attention to the internet. You know, it was just, this time you're in Montana. It showed these kind of extremists in America, these religious zealots. Yeah, it's... there's a lot of mixed feelings about this game. There's a lot of outcry about its subject matter. Whether or not that's been tweaked ahead of release, we don't know. But, you know, Far Cry games, I've always loved them. It wasn't until, Far Cry 3? I started waning a little bit. I really enjoyed Far Cry 3, but it took me a while to actually just kind of hunker down and finish it off. And in Far Cry 4, I've still never got round to finishing. I've just kind of got out of those a little bit, I suppose. A game that's supposed to be sometime in the first quarter of 2018, also for all platforms, is Warhammer Vermintide 2. And what the devs are saying, look, they've got a pretty straightforward proposition. It's going to be more, and it's going to be bigger. So that sounds interesting. The first one was actually available free with gold on Xbox just last month, or was it the month before? And funnily enough, it was Xbox One X enhanced, and it's a good-looking game. I just found it a little bit strange, where there's, you know, I know there is progression to a sense. It just felt a bit weird the way it all works. But anyway, I'm a big fan of the Warhammer universe. I'll have to try to play some more of that, and we'll keep an eye out for Vermintide 2, which will be coming out sometime in the first quarter of 2018. Another game that's coming out in the first quarter of 2018 is just for you PS4 folk, and that, of course, is God of War. What's interesting is that this is a Norse reboot of its mythological action series. So, interesting. You know, it seems, from what I'm reading here, it's a little low-key compared to the full-blooded lust and rage of the Greek versions. But, you know, the article here says that you shouldn't underestimate the studio's slick facility with this genre. It's a cinematic action game that, get this, doesn't feature a single camera cut. So, could be interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure how God of War fans are going to feel about that, where, you know, we came to know and love the main character. Kratos is his name, I believe. It's been years since I've played God of War games. I mean, obviously I used to have a PlayStation, a PS2, a PSP. I'm pretty sure the last God of War title I had was on my PSP. But so a complete reboot that's going to be, you know, set in the Norse mythology, which, come on, who doesn't love the Vikings and Odin and Thor and all that stuff? So that'll be quite cool. Let's see, what's another game coming out early 2018? One just for PC called Griftlands, an RPG in a world where everything is negotiable. Has a lovely art style and a lovely pitch. It's the latest from Clay Entertainment, one of the most brilliant developers at work today. Okay. Another Spider-Man, sometime in the first or second quarter of this year, just for PS4. Yep, so keep an eye on that. What's this? Abandoned Ship, Frozen Synapse 2. Okay, yeah, that looks like an interesting game. Frozen Synapse 2. Vector landscapes and whatnot. Let's see if I can get a quick screenshot up here. Just kind of like pretty artwork stuff, so okay. Looks interesting. What else we got? System Shock is being re-released sometime in the second quarter 2018 for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I mean, the original System Shock, you know, it'll go down in history, won't it? It was an amazing game when it first came out. God, what year was that? That's going back quite a ways. So it's interesting to, you know, basically, Night Dive had salvaged the rights to it, and they're attempting a fully modernized remake of it. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. Here's a game coming out sometime in the second quarter of 2018 on PS4 and Xbox One that a lot of people are really looking forward to, and of course that is Red Dead Redemption 2. Horrible confession, I never played the first one. It wasn't something that really appealed to me. But it looks like, I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 is quite likely to be the biggest game of 2018, quite possibly, depending if other games make it out this year or not. And it's basically, it's Rockstar's first all-new release since 2013's Grand Theft Auto 5. So Rockstar's definitely been working hard on this if they haven't released anything else since then. You know, all we've got obviously is the trailers, which if you haven't seen the trailers, go check them out. They do look amazing. It's going to be a prequel to the 2010 game. That's something I didn't realize. The online multiplayer, though, could be the huge revelation when it comes to the series. And it does sound interesting. You know, could it be we're going to get this Wild West sandbox that is going to take inspiration from GTA Online? Are we going to get that, but in a Western setting? If so, it might be worth checking out. For you Crew fans, we've got the Crew 2 coming out sometime second to third quarter 2018. On all platforms, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. You know, the original, The Crew, is not a bad game. It's just unfortunate because there's a lot of other really good racing games out. You know, when The Crew came out, it's just so tricky when it comes to these racing games. I know The Crew tried to do it a little bit differently and give us a bit of story as well and character development, and I don't think they really succeeded that well when they did that. Hopefully The Crew 2 will be a better game. I mean, I'm quite partial to racing games, so we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see how it works out. Now, this is an interesting one. I hadn't heard of this before. Starlink Battle for Atlas. Sometime between the third and fourth quarter 2018. And it's going to be PS4, Xbox One, and the Switch from Nintendo. And let me just read this line to you. What if we combined No Man's Sky with the Toys to Life genre? Right? That was the pitch, and you know, honestly, it looks like it might be a recipe for disaster. But anyway, there was a little bit of footage of this shown at E3 last year, I believe, and it did look quite amazing. Journalists were wowed by it, saying it has quite a bit of ingenuity and a real sense of fun. So, okay, sounds interesting. Now here we go. Here's one that I know I am looking forward to, and I'm sure many other people are. If you've ever played any of the Assassin's Creed games, specifically, you know, the later ones, when you look at like Black Flag and Rogue and whatnot, when they introduced the whole pirate ship aspect of the game, well, you know what, Ubisoft's like, well, you know what, a lot of people enjoyed that. Why don't we just take that feature and make it its own game? And that is exactly what Skull and Bones is. Coming out sometime later this year, third or fourth quarter, for PS4, Xbox One, and of course PC, is Skull and Bones. And it just, you know, it looks stunning graphically. It looks like it's going to be pretty cool. Obviously, it's not the only pirate simulator coming out this year, because we have Sea of Thieves, but this is very different. Skull and Bones looks a bit grittier. You know, obviously it looks like it's more realistic. It will no doubt have multiplayer. So Skull and Bones is definitely looking cool. It's an Ubisoft game, so no doubt Ubisoft will do their usual closed alpha, a closed beta, an open beta. So if go check out their site, see if you can register, and with any chance you'll be able to play this game or test it out quite far ahead of time. But yeah, Skull and Bones looking good. An Xbox One and PC only game coming out sometime this year, State of Decay 2. And if we're honest, State of Decay, the first one was quite a bit rough around the edges. But it did have a very distinctive take on zombie survival. Which, considering if it was able to kind of, stick out in that genre, because let's be honest, it is really, really oversaturated, the whole zombie survival genre at the moment. But it was quite cool, had a combination of openness and community building. The sequel is going to add online co-op, and hopefully it'll be just a better game altogether compared to the first one. Excuse me. Let's see, for PS4 and 3DS, and then the Switch hopefully later, is Dragon Quest XI, which came out in Japan last year, but the international release was not occurring until later this year in 2018. Quite interesting. What I'm reading here about it is that the main draw is a return to what is arguably the most refined classical Japanese RPG series for the first time since 2009's wonderful Dragon Quest IX on 3DS, because the online-only Wii game Dragon Quest X never made it outside of Japan. So there you go, Dragon Quest XI for all you JRPG fans out there. I mean, Square Enix, I used to love everything that Square Enix made. It's been just many, many years since I've been into their games, but oh well. Total War Saga, Thrones of Britannia is coming out sometime this year for PC. So there you go. That should be interesting. A campaign set in Britain just after the Viking invasion for all you RTS, real-time strategy fans. Yeah, should be real-time strategy, right? I don't think it's turn-based. Yeah, it should be real-time. Valkyria Chronicles 4, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch sometime this year. Another tactical RPG. This is set in an alternate 20th century timeline. Okay, sounds cool. Let's see, what's this? Aha, yes, of course, we saw the previews for this just a few weeks ago. Was it a month or two ago? Soul Calibur 6 is coming out this year for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. This is another big ticket fighting game of 2018. Dragon Ball FighterZ Z, of course, people are looking forward to, but Soul Calibur 6 is also, really being looked forward to, because let's be honest, the Soul Calibur games, I remember playing them; they were amazing. So to have a new one in the series is quite awesome. So that'll be pretty neat. A Switch game coming out sometime this year, which looks like it's going to be a Fire Emblem game. The only information I've got here is untitled Fire Emblem game. So there you go. I know at least one person, one of my friends, who's really into the Fire Emblem games, so he'll be quite happy. I don't think he has a Switch though. I'll have to fix that. Let's see. Of course, World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth is coming out sometime this year. The Legion expansion that came out in 2016 was one of the most exciting things to happen to what is, I don't think you can even argue, the world's most dominant MMORPG, or MMO, whatever you want to call it. So Battle for Azeroth is going to be hard to follow the success of Legion. Will they be able to do it? Hopefully. It's got a faction war focused end game, and there's going to be huge changes coming to the way leveling and PvP work. Which, if you've stuck out and played WoW, then you're no stranger to change. I think that's one of the things that made it difficult for me to get back into the game. I had left just before Cataclysm had came out, and then I came back Oh, it would have been, was it just before Legion or even maybe after Legion? And played a little bit, and it was cool, enjoyed it, but it just, you know, it felt so different that I just couldn't get back into it. And probably for the best anyway, because I used to spend a ridiculous amount of time in World of Warcraft. Let's see, the Bar Tales 4 is coming out sometime this year on PC. The Bar Tales games, of course, are pretty cool. This is going to be powered by the Unreal Engine 4. Instead of, you know, so it's not going to be a retro isometric RPG. So, looks pretty interesting. Psychonauts 2 is coming out sometime this year on all platforms. Funnily enough, it's... Oh, sorry, I've got an update here. This was one that... Oh, what a shame. So, Psychonauts 2 was crowdfunded, right? There's a lot of games that, you know, maybe they just don't get financial backing, you know, the dev or the publisher's like, no, we're not going to make that. And people take action and they crowdfund games. Psychonauts 2 was one of those games. It was crowdfunded, and it was looking great, you know, that, oh, here we go, it's going to be released. But just a couple of weeks ago, the developer, Double Fine, confirmed that it will not make it out in 2018. I'll have to look a bit more into that actually and see if it's coming out at all. Maybe it's been delayed or something, or maybe they've just said nah. But, oh, there you go. Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out at some point this year for PS4 and Xbox One, so there you go if you're into those games. Oh, I haven't played one of those since, I believe, on my 3DS. Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, is coming out for PC some point this year, so there you go. If you've Pillars of Eternity, I believe, is free at the moment. Is that right? No, Path of Exile. Pillars of Eternity isn't free, is it? It was PoE, but another PoE. Oh yes, this is a game that is a lot of people are expecting to come out this year, but I'm not convinced. I think it might be 2019. And that, of course, is Anthem from EA and BioWare. That's PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Anthem, again, very little's known about it, but it does look amazing. It's on this list of 2018 games, but I'll be honest, I'm not fully convinced. I would imagine if it is 2018, it'll be late 2018, but there's a good chance it might get bumped. I would imagine they'll try to have it out, you know, around that kind of time frame for this year, later on, you know, the holiday period. But it just depends how they get on with the development of it. I mean, they've already, EA released a bit of news just in the last 24 hours, I believe, about the loot boxes that Anthem will feature, and it'll be cosmetic only items and whatnot. So you can see they're trying to do a little bit of damage control, you know, before people start speculating, oh, Anthem's going to be pay to win or anything like that. They're trying to address a little bit of that. Metro Exodus on all platforms at some point in this year. Of course, that'll be the third game in the Metro series. Shenmue 3 coming out at some point this year for PS4 and PC. So that'll be pretty cool. The Shenmue games are awesome. I do remember playing the first one way back when. This is a game that Jay is really looking forward to, and this is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Sometime this year, allegedly, and so this is a sequel to, of course, the 2015 amazing game Ori and the Blind Forest. It's beautiful, you know, it's a very captivating game. It's one that I've never got around to playing, I don't believe. I can't remember if I have or not. No, I don't think I do. But so the sequel to it, and of course it's going to be in 4K if you've got an Xbox One X or a PC that's capable. So looks very, very nice. Life is Strange Season 2 should be coming out sometime this year. Star Citizen, allegedly Bayonetta 3 will be coming out, so that'll be interesting. One of the big games for the Switch that's expected in 2018 is Metroid Prime 4. So we'll have to see how that turns out. For PS4, The Last of Us Part 2, you know, should be interesting. There's a bit of debate whether it's going to be a game for adults or an adult game. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see how that turns out. Trying to think of what other games are coming out in 2018. Let's see. Oh yes, Ace Combat 7, one that I'm looking forward to. Hopefully that'll be quite good. I haven't played an Ace Combat game in ages. So really quite looking forward to a new one of those. The second season of The Wolf Among Us, if you're into Telltale games. The final season also of The Walking Dead. Let's see, anything else? Dynasty Warriors 9, a turn-based mech strategy game, Battletech. That could be interesting. An RPG survival horror from Cyanide, Call of Cthulhu, the official video game. That could be interesting. Let's see, there's a Monster Hunter style co-op beast tracking game, Dauntless. Okay. Old school platform, Super Meat Boy Forever. Okay, a 2D cyberpunk adventure, The Last Night. Tropico 6. Okay, there's a few possibilities coming out. Oh, of course, yeah, We Happy Few should be getting released. Remakes of Fear Effect, Secret of Mana, Medieval. Interesting. So there we go. That's what I currently have for what's coming out in 2018. I suppose the big ones for me that I'm really looking forward to, Monster Hunter World, which we don't have very long to wait for that. I'm also really looking forward to Sea of Thieves. I want to try that. Skull and Bones, I'm looking forward to that. If Anthem comes out this year, great. If not, oh well. Aside from that, I'm not sure of very many new games that are coming out that I'm interested in, but I want to see how 2018 is going to let, how other games are going to develop. Obviously, we're going to be going into year 3 of Rainbow Six Siege, so throughout this year we should be getting 8 new operators, we should be getting new maps, so it'll be interesting to see how that game changes. Also, Destiny 2 will be getting more DLCs. Whether or not they can salvage the game is who has any idea. It looks like they're really trying, maybe not their best, but they're trying to rectify some of the issues and address things, but there's just no telling if they're going to be successful or not. Hopefully they can make the game better than its current state. Also be interested to see how The Division does. The latest update 1.8 has really done a lot for The Division, so I'm curious to see moving forward if that game is going to improve, or what's going to happen. Are they going to, discontinue support and development of it? Are they working on a sequel? Nobody knows. There's still a lot of things to come. I mean, we know we're still supposed to be getting an enhanced patch for the 1X for The Division, so we'll just have to see. What else? Any other games? Warframe. Warframe continues to grow year after year. If you haven't played it recently, you really need to pick it up. It's free. It can be a bit daunting initially because there is a lot of stuff to do, but if you've got buddies that can help you out and kind of carry you through those early days, giving you a little bit of a boost, it's great. When you're playing it with friends, it's just a fantastic game. But yeah, 2018, it's going to be interesting. Tech-wise as well, we should be getting the new Volta series of gaming video cards. The next generation of Ryzen chips should be coming out. I would assume there's going to be a new iteration of AMD video cards as well. No doubt we'll get another generation of Intel chips, unless this whole bug thing has caused them to go back to the drawing board. Yeah, 2018 certainly looks interesting. And hopefully throughout the year we're going to have plenty of news to share with you here on Jungle Drums. Yeah, hopefully so. Anyway, look, whilst you're here on the website at scholarlygamers.com, make sure to check out all our other great articles and reviews, our other video content as well from The Unbearable Gamer, Armchair Gaming, If you're interested in philosophy, you know, great show. You should really watch it sometime. And of course, check out all of our streamers. Go to the streaming page up there, and you know, good chance that someone's going to be online, depending whereabouts in the world you are. And if no one is, then look, you know, you need to go and start following some people so you can get notified when they do, of course, go live. You can keep tabs on us, of course, by just looking for the hashtag Scholarly Gamers. Just Google it. Look, put in hashtag Scholarly Gamers. You're gonna find stuff. Likewise on Twitter, on Facebook, you can track us down fairly easily. Anyway, that is me for now. Hopefully next week I'll be joined by the rest of the gang. You know, I hate it whenever I'm doing these on my own because it's just a monologue. It really is jungle drumming on and on. I do much more like it when, you know, we've got a bit of back and forth, a bit of conversation, even sometimes a bit of disagreement. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I will catch you next week.